Good morning. Time to make the coffee. Today's flavor is salted caramel with Cinnabon creamer, and we're having a high of 96 degrees today. Oh yuck. That's about 12 degrees over my comfort zone. But anyway, I can't work out in the garden today anyhow, because I'm going to have to go pick up Mom. She had a little episode where we had to take her to the emergency room, and they kept her overnight, so that was a good thing. But she seems to be okay now, so thank God for that. So I wouldn't be working in the garden today anyway. So yeah, it's been interesting. I stayed with her until 5 in the morning, and boy, was I tired yesterday. Holy moly. But I'm refreshed today, so I got a good night's sleep, and the world is looking brighter. So I don't know what I'm going to do today other than go pick up Mom. I imagine I'll be bringing her to my house. I have to wait and see how she's doing. But, yeah, it's one day at a time here. That's all I can do. That's part of the reason why I go by the seat of my pants, because it's too frustrating to make a lot of plans and then not be able to do them because there's an interruption, or I have to do something else that's calling my name that I have to do. So I'd rather just go day to day and figure it out as I go along. It's kind of the way I've always done things, and I know, a lot of people have a routine and a regiment, but I don't know, if you're like that, do you find that you often get frustrated because you can't get done what you had planned that day? That would frustrate me. So, yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot going on this morning, and I'm glad about that because I can relax for a little bit and drink my coffee and check out my budget book. So let's do a little creamer. And I'm glad I have extra stuff in the house because I don't have to stop and get food, although yesterday I did go get some ice cream. I haven't had ice cream in a while, and summertime is the only time I eat ice cream, so I want to take advantage of that. So cheers! Yep, that's good. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy the coffee for a little bit and just sort of gather my thoughts and see what I'm going to do today, kind of work around whenever I have to go pick up my mom, and do the budget book. So I will meet you over there in just a second. All right, well, today or yesterday I did spend money. I stopped and picked up some ice cream, and I also bought some cherries that were on sale for $1.99, and they are absolutely horrible. I've never had such terrible cherries. They're almost like they're starting to dry out, so I'm going to take those back because, it was a good couple pounds, so I'm going to return them, and yeah. They're just really bad. I've never had such terrible cherries. So, yeah, I'm trying to rein in on the spending again, since I bought so many things for the garden, and I bought a few things for the house. So now it's time to get back to it. And I really don't need any food. I have plenty of that too. So, but I did want some ice cream, which, like I said, I only eat ice cream in the summer. So, not for any in particular reason, but in the winter I'm usually cold, so I don't want cold ice cream on top of it. I'd rather have a nice hot soup. So, yeah, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here today. My brain is on overload. So I just have to kind of chill a little bit and relax and take some breaths and figure out how I'm going to progress. It's, like I said, it's way too hot to do any gardening today, but I do have to get out there and water because, some of the things are still going to be growing, like the chard and the kale and the Malabar spinach. All those things still need some water because those are more cold vegetable crops and they're starting to perk up. So I want to take advantage of having those to eat. And that requires me to continue with the watering. But I'll be a little bit more selective in what I'm watering. And now that everything is a little bit more accessible in as far as my raised city picker boxes, it's a little easier to keep things watered that, I don't want them to dry out. But some things I'm just going to start letting them go and let nature take its course and not worry about watering every little thing in the garden. So yeah, big changes need to happen next year, and that's why I'm working on that now, so that when springtime comes around, I won't have so much work to do. Now the fencing, I have to continue to work on that. There's some areas that I have to reinforce because if the puppies see a squirrel or something out in the yard or a rabbit, especially Chloe, she jumps up on the fence, and I don't want her to knock the fence down. So I have to make extra sure that everything is copacetic and won't fall over. And I think I'm going to have to order some more fence stakes just to be on the safe side. And I'd rather have too many than not enough because it's like prepping. You'd rather have too much food than not enough food. At least that's my philosophy. So anyway, that's it on the budget book today. Not much to tell. Like you can see, I have a lot of red X's, much more than green checks this month. But that doesn't mean I spent a ton of money. It just means I spent more money every day rather than, the fence was kind of a little more on the expensive side, but a lot of the other stuff was just, things I bought at Aldi's or, so. Anyway, I didn't break the bank, but I did spend money on a lot of days. So, okay, I don't know, I'm going to relax a little bit before I start my day and get out there and do the watering before it gets too hot. Well, here's today's harvest. I finally got out there to harvest my peppers, and now I have to do something with them. So, but I'm thankful to have all this food, and it's beautiful. Look at those beautiful colors, and there's an eggplant down there, all different colored peppers and little cherry tomatoes. So, thank you for all the food. Lord, please give everybody else the food they need too. Amen. Well, good morning. Cheers. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about dealing with health issues as you get older. Not only your own, but a loved one's, whether that's an elderly parent, a husband, a wife, whatever. So as we get older, it's difficult dealing with our own health issues. And then when you have either a sick spouse, or like in my situation, I have my mom who's getting up there. She's 95. So I have concerns about, am I going to be able to take care of her as she gets older? Now, I don't know, how many years she's going to live yet. Like yesterday, was it yesterday? No, the day before. It was at night. She called me. She was not feeling well. I went over there, thought maybe I could make her feel better, but she just wasn't responding very well. So I ended up calling the squad, and then they took her to the hospital. And I ended up being there with her. She finally fell asleep. She was pretty restless, and she finally fell asleep, but I sat there with her until 5 in the morning. So by the time I got home, I was super stressed, and I didn't feel good either. So what happens with me is everything goes to my stomach. That's where where the stress manifests itself. So then what happens is I get all this extra acid and reflux, and then it's like, oh, my chest is burning, and is it my heart? Is it my reflux? And what the heck is going on? So, sometimes your own health then is affected by your loved one's health issues. So I know that's a major concern for most of us that are getting older is, am I going to be able to take care of my loved ones when my own health isn't 100% anymore, because you're not a spring chicken anymore. So I think it's a good idea maybe to make a plan B that maybe another family member can help out and help take care of your loved one. Or you could have, there's always the nursing home route, but I know a lot of us don't want to go that route for ourselves or our loved ones. But, you could consider that for a temporary situation if you're actually in a place where you cannot physically take care of your loved one. Or maybe consider having help come in and helping out, whether that's with cleaning or cooking, so that you can focus all your energies on your loved ones. Now, I know that costs money, and a lot of us, that's another situation that adds to the mix of, what am I going to do? Because if you don't have the money, that's not going to be helpful either. So it's a definite dilemma, and it's something that needs a lot of thought. Admitting a loved one into a nursing facility, there again is another issue. If they have money, it'll be private pay, of course, unless they're under Medicare and they actually have a health condition that would qualify them for 100 days of skilled nursing care. But a lot of times it isn't considered skilled nursing care. So, then you have to go to the private pay route before you can actually have Medicare step in, or Medicaid. In that case, they would go on Medicaid, and that would kick in eventually if their finances are exhausted But that's not an ideal situation either. So, I mean, in a lot of other countries where families actually live in a group, it's a little easier because you have a whole bunch of family members caring for their older people. But in our society, we don't have a whole lot of options available that don't cost an arm and a leg. Sometimes maybe you can enlist someone to come in where you don't have to pay so super much. A private caregiver maybe that you can find, maybe in your neighborhood, even if it's just coming in for a couple of hours. And it can be a younger person or an older retired person that maybe would be willing to help out for not a whole lot of money. So that might be something that you could look into. But your best option would be to contact your community health care. A lot of times they come out with a book about resources for elderly that you can rely on for help. So those are just some of the things that you could consider. I know a friend of mine, now she is a nurse, and she took care of a lady that she knew. She would go in, and the lady had Alzheimer's, and she would just sit with her, and take care of her. So sometimes just having somebody stay with your loved one, or if you have it available that you could have them stay with a family member for a few hours, just so that you can get out and get a little bit of a relief. Yeah, it's a real problem. And I know for me personally, I have my dogs to consider. If I ended up in the hospital for a few days. Now, fortunately, I do have my grandson living here with me, but the dogs don't always cooperate with him. He wants to let them out, and they'll just look at him like, nope, I'm not going out there. So that's a big concern for me, that my dogs, it's like, well, how do I take care of my dogs? And I was actually in that situation when I had my little Allie, who passed away 2016, but that's when I broke my hip, and I had to be in the hospital for several days. And the problem with her was she was diabetic and needed shots twice a day. Now at that point she was already like at the end stage of it, but I was very worried and concerned about her. Now fortunately my neighbor is a nurse, she's my best friend, and she was able to come in and give her insulin shots. But yeah, when I got home from the hospital, she wasn't used to having somebody else take care of her, and she did pass away a few days after I got home, which was very traumatic for me. But so we have all these people sometimes that rely on us, and as we get older, it gets difficult because oftentimes you have to take care of yourself, and it gets harder and harder to take care of a loved one that needs your help. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and some of the concerns that I have as I'm growing older. And I feel very blessed to still have my mom in my life. Not many of us have that blessing that we have a parent with us as we grow older. And So I'm very thankful for that. But sometimes it does get difficult, and we have to have a plan in place, a what if. I like to do what if scenarios, what if this happens? And then I try and figure out an answer so that I'm not totally blindsided when something goes awry, because it's not if something goes awry, it's when something will go awry. So I think planning ahead a little bit is a good strategy. And there aren't a whole lot of good answers for this problem out there. There really aren't. But there is some help available. Like I said, try and contact your community services and see what's available out there. If you need rides to places, they have that kind of service available. Now, I don't know money-wise how much that would cost, but I know that our community gives us a booklet with all the community resources that are available. So don't just throw that in the trash when you get it. Hang on to that because you might need it. So anyway, that's what's on my mind today. And some of these things, they weigh heavy on your heart because we all try and do the best we can to be as helpful as we can to our loved ones as much as possible. But sometimes we need some extra help. So, before things go bad, talk to some of your family, talk to some of your friends. Maybe you have a friend that's looking to make a few extra bucks that would be willing to come in and sit with your mom or loved one for a few hours so that you can get a little bit of rest or whatever it is you need. So, okay, well, I have to go get ready because I'm waiting for the hospital to call me to go pick up my mom, and I'll see how she is when I get there. My daughter went to visit her last night, and she said she was doing pretty well. So we might need to get her a little bit in-home therapy. They were going to look at her and evaluate her and see what she needs. So she might need that, and she might not need that. So we'll see. All right, well, that's all I have for you today, my friends. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. It helps my channel grow. Don't forget to share, and thanks for watching.